Hi everyone, it's Lynn from DevineCentral, and I am back with another video on the intricacies of reading at fairs and festivals. I have many videos planned for this series. Not quite sure what order I'm going to do them in yet, but I just believe that there are so many people talking about it in theory, but they're not really giving resources or all the little tips and tricks and stuff that goes along with how just, experience of doing it. So that's why I'm sharing this information with you today. All right, so my videos have been a little inconsistent lately because as many of you know, my husband and I have been traveling across the country in an RV. We are now settled in South Texas, just bought a home, still living in boxes, so bear with my backgrounds for a little while till I figure it out. But today I want to talk to you about the fear of it all. Now, fear is an interesting thing because fear has to do with the fight or flight response that we as humans have built into our DNA to help protect us from harm. Now, if reading at fairs and festivals makes you feel a little queasy, is that really fear? I mean, is that something that is harmful for us? Of course not. It's all in the narrative. I want you to consider looking at it more as excitement, as a get to instead of a have to. Consider it butterflies bouncing off the walls of your stomach, and that's that flutter that you're feeling, because that's what's going to help you get past it. We all have to get past it at one point or another, right? So what I'd like to do today is give you just some remedies that will help minimize or shorten those fearful moments, because like I said, we all get them even to this day. Okay, so number one is rituals. And what I mean by rituals is, well, obviously the consistency that gives you some peace. One of the things that gives me consistency and helps keep my nerves from becoming frayed as I'm preparing to go into these fairs and festivals is a checklist. It's something on my computer that I print off every single event that I go to. And it has listed in sections what I need in my tarot bag, what I need to pack in the car with me. Now, there's nothing worse and nothing will set you off more than getting to an event and forgetting your square or forgetting your cards. One time I went out of town and left my clothing hanging by the front door, and I went out the back door and completely forgot to bring my clothes. So here I was at 9 o'clock at night out at the Targets and the the big, not big lots, but whatever, the TJ Maxx, looking for something appropriate to wear the next day because I didn't have anything. Ooh, and I don't like those pictures because I did have pictures taken of me that event. But it really will unnerve you. And so the more prepared you come, the less stressful you will be, and therefore the less fearful and queasy you'll be. The next thing is, once you set up your booth, wherever it's, whether it be inside or outside, once it's all set up and it's all done, now you need to switch gears and you need to prepare yourself to read, right? And there are a lot of different ways to do that. And people, there's as many different ways as there are, readers doing it. Some people prefer to meditate. I personally could not sit down in my booth with all of this activity and noise going on around me and be able to concentrate on a meditation. I'm sure a lot of others feel the same way, and those that meditate probably go find a hidden corner or go sit out in their car or something until the event, so they can put themselves in that right frame of mind. I think breathing is good, right? Right as they're opening the doors of an event, I start getting those flutters, and so I breathe. And you do that a few times, and it really does bring your blood pressure down and slow you down enough to be able to concentrate again. So here's my number one ritual after making sure I have a checklist. I have a black tourmaline stone. I love this stone. And look at the beauty of this thing. And it's quite large. I have people that sell crystals and rocks marvel at this thing. They said it's special because there's a sheen on top here that you rarely see. to the degree of this stone. And I don't know if the video can do it justice, but it's a beautiful stone. I carry this stone around to absorb all the negative energy in the room. So I walk from booth to booth to booth, and I walk around and absorb absorb bad energy. When I'm done, I put this stone underneath my chair and I keep it there for the duration of the show. And to me, that I trust that it absorbs any negative energy that may walk into my booth. Now, it also dupes as a conversation starter because it's so special. So one of the things that calms my nerves is before the show is started, it allows me to just walk around, introduce myself to people, meet other people. I'm very social, and I like to do that. It also lets me see what prices other people are paying and what they're doing in their booths. And so that just happens to be my ritual. Everybody has one. But I really think that if you get to the show as early as possible, get yourself set up and give yourself plenty of time between the time you set up and the time the show starts to come down, if you will, or prepare yourself emotionally and mentally and spiritually, that it's really going to waylay a lot of those fears that can crop up. Okay, that's rituals. The next thing is knowing your cards. So get out of the thought process that you have to be a fortune teller, that you have to be right when these people sit in your booth. You don't have to be a fortune teller. Be a card reader. That's what you are. And that makes a big difference if you know your cards. When you have that confidence, nothing beats fear like confidence beats fear. So I always let people know that starting out, that it's really helpful if you have one deck of cards that you know intimately well. Now, whether or not you believe in spirit, maybe you just believe in your own subconscious intuition. Either way, the same scenarios will start repeating for those cards. And pretty soon, when a card comes up, you're going to know exactly what it means. And that will help tremendously with the fear factor. The next remedy will be trust. Trusting in what you see. And then saying what you see. I have a video called Memorization or Intuition. In it, I have replayed a partial of an interview that Christiana Gaudet had with Tori Hartman about freezing up, right? Because isn't that everyone's biggest fear? Oh, I'm going to freeze. I'm going to look at the cards and I'm not going to know what's there. It's trusting that what you see in your head is real. I liken it to that movie that plays across my third eye. I believe that those are messages from spirit when it's the first thing that I see, because I've done enough readings now that people will say to me, yeah, that's exactly what the situation is. Now, I can see the same card come up in two different readings, one queer apart, and see something completely different in my mind's eye. And that's how I believe that it's spirit passing on that message. And if you truly believe, whether, again, it's in spirit or your intuition, and if you trust it, it will take a lot of the heebie-jeebies away. And as an example of that, what really probably gives me more heebie-jeebies than anything is when I have somebody come and sit in my booth and they have an energy of judgment, and you can sense it, you can feel it, you can cut it with a knife. There are people that will sit there and just stare at you and not give you any information. That is when trusting in what you see and then saying what you see and letting it go and not worrying about it, whether it's right or whether it's wrong. That will help you to stay focused and to take away the fear, because trusting and believing in yourself will take away some of that fear as well. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is putting the onus on, well, let's put it this way, taking the onus off of yourself and putting it on the cards and putting it on spirit, and to a degree, putting it on your querents as well. I have a preamble that I like to use when people sit down in my booth, and it is this. I'm a firm believer that we have spirit guides that are all around us all the time, constantly trying to get messages to us. When we give them a medium of any kind, I happen to use tarot cards, they jump at the chance to get those messages through to us. Whatever cards you get today are the messages and the cards you were absolutely meant to have. My job as an interpreter of the cards is to try to help you figure out what messages are there for you. Now, I like to use the pictorial cards because they allow the participant to see what I'm seeing, and it helps them to, they can resonate or relate to some of the pictures in the cards. And I know people have, issues about that, but honestly, anything that will draw the participant into the conversation with me and help me help them makes it a win-win all the way around. And once you can connect with that querent, and let them know that you're human, just like they are, and we're looking at these cards together, the more successful your reading will be. So now you are no longer this know-all fortune teller that's going to tell their future. You are just simply a participant with spirit in helping them decipher the messages. Now, sometimes those messages don't make sense to them, and it's okay. It's not a crime to say they don't make sense to me either. That's where that other video I was talking about a minute ago comes in. Christiana Gaudette will explain what that means. Okay, so those are the things that will help remedy. And the last thing that I want to say is, if it helps at all, take it off Broadway. My first shows were 2.5 hours out of town. If I messed up at all, then I never had to worry about seeing those people ever again, because I didn't ever have to go back to that town. So let that be your practice ground, if you will. Let that be the one place that you say, all hell breaks loose. It doesn't matter what I do or say. It doesn't matter how bad I am. I know going into this, I never have to see them again. And honestly, my first shows, it's like, oh, wow, you will find it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be. So again, it's all in the narrative. Be careful how you speak to yourself. Be kind to yourself, and trust in either spirit or trust in your intuition, whichever it may be. And I will see you in the next video.